We've all been there. Someone offends us, disrespects us, or tries to pull us into negativity. The natural instinct, react. Defend yourself. Prove a point. But what if I told you the strongest response isn't a response at all? When we react emotionally, we give away our power. We let someone else dictate our actions, our mood, our peace. But silence, that's a decision. It says, I am in control. I decide what gets my attention. Walking away is not weakness. It's wisdom. The people who drain your energy, who constantly bring negativity into your life, they thrive on engagement. When you stop giving them what they want, they lose control over you. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every person deserves an explanation. Your time, your peace, your energy, they are your most valuable assets. So when someone repeatedly disrespects or drains you, don't argue, don't beg for understanding. Just cut them off silently. Because real power doesn't come from proving people wrong. It comes from knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what you refuse to tolerate. So the next time someone tries to pull you into a war of words, pause. Take a deep breath. And remember, true strength is in the silence. We've all experienced moments where someone's words or actions trigger an immediate emotional response. Maybe they insult you, undermine your efforts, or manipulate a situation to make you look bad. In that instant, the temptation is strong to react, to defend yourself, to prove them wrong. But here's the problem. The moment you react emotionally, you've already lost control. You've stepped into their game, played by their rules, and given them exactly what they wanted: your energy, your attention, your peace. True strength doesn't come from reacting, it comes from restraint. When you react, you allow someone else to dictate your emotions. But when you choose silence, you send a different message: I am in control. I don't engage in battles that don't serve me. I choose where my energy goes. Think about it. How many times have you engaged in an argument that led nowhere? How many times have you tried to explain yourself to someone who had no interest in understanding you? That's because some people don't want resolution, they want reaction. They want to pull you into their chaos because that's where they thrive. The more you engage, the more power they have over you. And the more you try to defend yourself, the more you prove that their words had an effect. But when you don't react, something interesting happens. The person trying to provoke you starts to lose their grip. They expect a fight, a debate, an emotional outburst, but instead they're met with silence. And silence is powerful. It forces them to confront their own actions without the distraction of your reaction. It makes them question why they even tried in the first place. It leaves them unsettled because they no longer have control over the situation. Silence doesn't mean weakness. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you've mastered the art of choosing your battles. You understand that not every attack needs a counterattack, and not every insult deserves a response. It means you value your peace more than your pride. Because let's be honest, most reactions come from ego. The ego wants to prove something. It wants to be right. It wants validation. But growth happens when you learn to quiet the ego and focus on what truly matters. Think about a time when someone tried to provoke you. Maybe it was a coworker making passive-aggressive comments, a friend spreading rumors, or a toxic family member criticizing your choices. Imagine if, instead of reacting, you simply smiled and walked away. What would happen? At first, they might try harder to get a response. They might push more buttons, escalate their words, or try new tactics. But eventually, they will realize that you're not playing their game. And when there's no opponent, there's no fight. This isn't about ignoring problems or avoiding confrontation when necessary. It's about recognizing when engagement is a waste of time. It's about knowing when silence is the most effective answer. Some people will never see your side. Some people will never change. And some people are not worth the explanation. When you realize that, you stop wasting time on meaningless conflicts, and you start focusing on what actually deserves your energy. When you react, you create a cycle. You respond, they respond back, and suddenly you're caught in an exhausting back and forth that leads nowhere. But when you cut off the reaction, you break the cycle. You choose peace over unnecessary drama. You send a message without saying a single word: I am not available for this. My time is valuable. My energy is sacred. I am not controlled by negativity. This mindset shift changes everything. You stop feeling the need to prove yourself to people who don't matter. You stop explaining yourself to people who've already made up their minds. You stop wasting energy on battles that won't bring growth. Instead, you channel that energy into building the life you want, into relationships that uplift you, into work that fulfills you, interpersonal growth that makes you stronger. It's not always easy. The urge to react is natural. It takes discipline to pause, take a deep breath, and walk away. But once you master it, you realize how much power there is in restraint. You no longer let people manipulate your emotions. You no longer feel the need to justify your decisions to those who don't deserve an explanation. You operate on a higher level, one where your actions are intentional, your energy is protected, and your peace is non-negotiable. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember this, that power ends where your reaction stops. When you choose silence, you choose strength. And in that silence, you reclaim control, not just over the situation, but over yourself. Silence is one of the most powerful tools you have. It speaks louder than words, carries more weight than explanations, and sends a message that cannot be misinterpreted. When you choose silence over reaction, you are making a statement, not to them, but to yourself. You are saying, I refuse to be pulled into negativity. I refuse to waste my breath on those who are committed to misunderstanding me. I refuse to give energy to situations that do not serve my peace. Most people think that silence is a sign of weakness. They assume that if you don't respond, you must have nothing to say, no defense, no confidence. But the truth is, silence requires more strength than speaking. It requires discipline, self-control, and the ability to put your emotions aside for something greater, your peace. The people who provoke you, who push your buttons, who try to get a rise out of you, they want you to react. That's their goal. They want to see you upset. They want to drag you into their world of chaos, because as long as they can get a reaction from you, they know they still have power over you. But when you choose not to engage, you take that power back. Silence forces people to sit with their own words, their own actions, and their own toxicity. It creates discomfort, uncertainty, and reflection. They begin to wonder, did I go too far? Why aren't they responding? Are they unaffected? And that uncertainty eats at them far more than any argument ever could, because when you argue, you give them something to fight against. But when you stay silent, they are left to battle with themselves. Silence is not avoidance, it's a decision. It's choosing not to waste energy explaining yourself to people who have no interest in understanding you. It's recognizing that some people only listen to respond, not to understand. It's understanding that no matter how much you try to justify, explain, or defend yourself, some minds will never change. And that's not your responsibility. Not everyone deserves a response. Not every insult needs a comeback. Not every argument needs your participation. People will provoke you, challenge you, insult you, some out of insecurity, some out of jealousy, some simply because they enjoy conflict. But their actions do not require your reaction. And in fact, your lack of reaction is often the best response you can give. Because when you choose to stay silent, you communicate something much louder than words ever could. I am not affected. I am not bothered. I am above this. People who try to provoke you are looking for an opening. They want to find a weakness, a way in, something to latch onto. The moment you engage, you've given them exactly what they want, a foothold, a reason to continue, a way to manipulate the situation. But when you don't engage, when you simply let their words fall flat, they are left with nothing to hold on to. And that is far more powerful than any argument. Think about the last time someone insulted you, spread rumors about you, or tried to bring you down. What would have happened if you simply ignored it? If you had let them talk without giving them the satisfaction of a response? Would the situation have escalated? Probably not. Because people who seek drama thrive on engagement. When you refuse to engage, you starve them of the attention they crave. Walking away is not about running from problems. It's about understanding which battles are worth fighting. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You don't have to prove your worth to those who refuse to see it. Your silence is a boundary, a declaration, a reminder that you control your energy and where you direct it. It's easy to react. It's easy to argue, to lash out, to defend yourself, but real strength is in restraint, in knowing that your silence can speak volumes, in understanding that the most powerful move you can make is sometimes the one you don't make at all. So the next time someone tries to pull you into negativity, pause, take a deep breath, and remember, silence is not weakness, it's wisdom, it's power. It's the ultimate response to those who do not deserve your energy. Walking away is one of the hardest things to do. It goes against our instincts. We want closure. We want to be understood. We want to set the record straight. But sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is remove yourself without explanation, without confrontation, without looking back. Because the moment you choose to walk away, you reclaim control. When you stay in toxic situations, whether it's a draining friendship, a manipulative relationship, or a workplace that doesn't value you, you are teaching people how to treat you. Every time you tolerate disrespect, you send the message that it's acceptable. Every time you engage in arguments that go nowhere, you give someone else permission to control your emotions. Every time you stay in an environment that drains you, you are choosing to sacrifice your peace for the sake of familiarity. But walking away changes everything. It sets a new standard. It says, I am not available for this. I do not accept this kind of treatment. My time, my energy, my peace, they are mine to protect. And that is a statement louder than words. People often see walking away as weakness. They assume it means giving up, backing down, running away from problems. But that's not true. Walking away is a decision made from strength. It's a conscious choice to step away from what no longer serves you, to refuse to engage in battles that drain you, to prioritize your own well-being over proving a point. Some people will never change. Some arguments will never be resolved. Some situations will never get better. And the more you try to fix them, the more they consume you. That's why walking away is so powerful. It breaks the cycle. It stops the endless loop of conflict, drama, and emotional exhaustion. It allows you to move forward instead of being stuck in a battle that's already lost. Walking away is not about proving anything to anyone else. It's about proving something to yourself, that you are strong enough to leave, that you respect yourself enough to let go, that you understand your worth enough to not settle for less. It's about taking control of your life and making choices that align with the person you want to be. Think about how much energy you spend on people and situations that do not deserve it. The arguments that leave you emotionally drained. The relationships that make you question your own worth. The environments that make you feel small. Now imagine what would happen if you redirected that energy. If instead of fighting for a place in someone's life, you walked away and built a life where you don't have to fight to be valued. The truth is, people don't respect words as much as they respect actions. You can tell someone 100 times that you're done, that you won't tolerate their behavior, that you're moving on. But if you stay, your words mean nothing. When you walk away, however, there is no room for misinterpretation. Your absence speaks for itself. Some people will try to make you feel guilty for walking away. They will call you selfish, say you gave up too easily, act as if you owed them more. But you do not owe anyone an explanation for prioritizing your peace. You do not owe anyone an apology for refusing to be mistreated. You do not owe anyone access to your life just because they were once a part of it. Walking away does not mean you don't care. It means you care enough about yourself to stop allowing what hurts you. It means you have learned that not every situation deserves your presence. It means you are choosing yourself over the need to be right, over the need to be understood, over the need to make things work that were never meant to. It's not easy. It requires courage to leave something familiar, to step into the unknown, to trust that better things are ahead. But every time you walk away from something that no longer serves you, you make space for something better. You open yourself up to new opportunities, healthier relationships, a clearer mind. You stop fighting battles that are not yours to fight, and instead you focus on what truly matters, your growth, your peace, your future. So the next time you find yourself stuck in a situation that drains you, ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Is this bringing me closer to the life I want? Is this something I would tell someone I love to tolerate? If the answer is no, then you already know what to do. Walk away. And do it with confidence, knowing that real strength isn't in fighting to stay, is in having the wisdom to leave. Not everyone deserves a response. This is a truth that once understood changes everything. We live in a world where people feel entitled to our energy, our explanations, and our reactions. They say something disrespectful, and they expect you to fight back. They spread a rumor, and they expect you to defend yourself. They challenge your choices, and they expect you to justify them. But here's the reality: your silence is not weakness. It is a decision. A decision to value your energy over someone else's need for conflict. Some people provoke you just to see how much control they have over your emotions. They push your buttons, not because they genuinely care about the conversation, but because they want to see if they can make you react. They want to manipulate your emotions, drag you into their chaos, and waste your time. And every time you engage, you're giving them exactly what they want: your attention. But what happens when you refuse to engage? When you simply don't respond? When their words, their actions, their attempts to get a rise out of you fall flat? They lose power. They become frustrated, confused, unsettled, because silence is uncomfortable. It forces them to sit with their own behavior instead of being able to distract themselves with your reaction. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every person is worth your time. There are people in this world who will misunderstand you no matter how well you explain yourself. There are people who will twist your words no matter how carefully you choose them. There are people who are so committed to their own negativity that no amount of logic, reason, or kindness will change them. And that's not your burden to carry. Choosing not to respond is not about running from problems. It's about recognizing when engagement is a waste of your energy. Your energy is your most valuable resource, and you don't owe it to everyone. You don't have to argue with someone who is only looking for a fight. You don't have to explain yourself to someone who has already made up their mind about you. You don't have to defend yourself against people who are committed to misunderstanding you. When you learn to let go of the need to respond, you start to realize how much peace comes with it. You stop feeling the urge to prove yourself to people who don't matter. You stop explaining yourself to those who refuse to listen. You stop giving your time and attention to negativity, and instead you invest that energy into yourself, into your growth, into the people and things that actually bring you joy. Think about the last time you got pulled into an unnecessary argument. Maybe someone insulted you, criticized you, or tried to get a reaction out of you. Did engaging in that conversation bring you peace? Did it change anything? Did it make you feel better, or did it just drain you? Now imagine if instead of responding, you had walked away, ignored it, moved on. Would the outcome have been any worse? Or would you have saved yourself the stress and frustration? One of the biggest mistakes people make is thinking that silence means surrender. That if they don't respond, they are letting the other person win. But the truth is, silence is often the most powerful response you can give, because it shows that you are in control of yourself. It shows that you are unbothered. It shows that you are not willing to lower yourself to someone else's level just to prove a point. The strongest people are not the ones who fight every battle. They are the ones who know which battles are worth their time. They are the ones who walk away from meaningless conflict because they understand that their energy is too valuable to waste on negativity. They are the ones who know that true power is in restraint, in self-control, and in the ability to choose where their focus goes. When you stop responding to negativity, you start to see just how much control you have over your own life. You stop letting other people's words dictate your emotions. You stop allowing negativity to take up space in your mind. You stop feeling the need to justify yourself to those who don't deserve an explanation. And in doing so, you free yourself. You reclaim your peace. You take back the power that was always yours to begin with. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, remember this: your energy is a privilege, not a right. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone deserves a response. And the moment you realize that, you become untouchable. Growth requires letting go. This is one of the hardest lessons to learn, because as human beings, we naturally hold on to people, to memories, to relationships, to situations that once made sense but no longer serve us. We convince ourselves that holding on is strength, that persistence is a virtue, that if we just try a little harder, give a little more, things will change. But sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for yourself is to let go. Letting go doesn't mean you didn't care. It doesn't mean you didn't try. It doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you've recognized that your energy is better spent elsewhere. It means you understand that growth isn't about staying where you are comfortable. It's about making room for something better. Because as long as you hold on to things that drain you, you leave no space for things that will fulfill you. Think about the things in your life that have been holding you back. Maybe it's a relationship that no longer brings you joy. Maybe it's a friendship that has become one-sided. Maybe it's an environment that drains your energy, a cycle of negativity that keeps repeating itself, a version of yourself, that you've outgrown but are afraid to leave behind. Whatever it is, ask yourself, what is this costing me? Is it costing you your peace, your happiness, your potential? If so, why are you still holding on? We often stay in situations long past their expiration date because they are familiar. Even when they hurt us, they are predictable. Even when they no longer serve us, they feel safe. But growth does not happen in comfort. It happens when you have the courage to step into the unknown, to trust that something better is ahead, to believe that you deserve more than what you've been settling for. When you let go, you don't just remove the negative, you make space for the positive. You give yourself the chance to attract new relationships, new opportunities, new experiences that align with the person you are becoming. You stop carrying dead weight, and suddenly you feel lighter. You stop trying to fix things that are not meant for you. And suddenly you have more energy to build what is. You stop waiting for people to change, and suddenly you realize that the only person you ever needed to change was yourself. Letting go is not an easy process. It requires grieving what was, accepting what is, and trusting what will be. It requires walking away from things that once made you happy, knowing that their time in your life has passed. It requires understanding that not everyone is meant to stay, not every situation is meant to last, and not every chapter needs to be rewritten. Some chapters need to end so you can start a new one. People will make you feel guilty for letting go. They will say you changed. They will accuse you of being selfish. They will try to pull you back into the same cycles you worked so hard to escape. But that's because your growth threatens their comfort. Your decision to move forward forces them to confront the fact that they are still standing still. And that's not your burden to carry. You are not responsible for making other people comfortable at the expense of your own progress. When you let go, you set a new standard. You show yourself in the world that you are willing to choose yourself. That you are not afraid to walk away from anything or anyone that no longer aligns with your values, your peace, your future. And that kind of self-respect is magnetic. The moment you start valuing yourself enough to let go of what drains you, you start attracting what fulfills you. The right people, the right opportunities, the right energy. So if you feel like you're outgrowing certain relationships, certain environments, certain mindsets, trust that feeling. It's not a sign of disloyalty. It's a sign of evolution. It's life telling you that you are meant for more. And the only way to step into that more is to release what no longer belongs. Letting go is not the end. It's the beginning of a life where your energy is protected, your peace is prioritized, and your future is not held back by the past. The moment you understand that, you stop clinging to what was and start embracing what could be. And that is where true growth begins.